Okay, I want to talk about, not selling art for money. I talked about it in one of my recent videos, but I kind of just want to go in more detail and go over it a little bit more in this video. And what do I mean by not selling art for money? Well, we've seen what happens when you sell art and sell creativity for money. It destroys creativity, it destroys art. And they say money is the root of all evil. Yes, money destroys. If you make art just for money, just for a cash grab, that is fake art. That is not art. That is just to get into someone's pockets and into someone's wallet. Okay, and we see this happen in Hollywood. Hollywood has its ups and downs, but I mean, I still think there are some great movies coming out, and like the Spider-Man movie that's coming out, and I enjoyed Supergirl somewhat, and there are still great movies coming out, but there's some movies that are just being made and they're cliche, they're stereotypical, and you've seen it so many times before. It's just different characters, different names, different actors, blah blah blah, but same story, same, like I said, cliche stereotypes, and it's very predictable. And it's almost like they're trying to like just repeat a formula, like forget creativity, forget original ideas, but they just want to repeat the same old formula that made the money before in the past, and maybe make a sequel or prequel or spin-off or whatever that is, and just try to milk the money as much as possible. But you're just, when you do that and you make the main goal is to get as much money as possible, you ruin the creativity of the movie, you ruin the art. It is no longer, hey, let's make this to have fun. Hey, let's create something beautiful. Hey, let's create something that will inspire a lot of people. Let's create something that will get people to feel a lot of emotions inside of them, that can create a film that can get people to cry, that we could get people to laugh a lot, okay? And actually feel something with the movie, and like I said, feel inspired, okay? But when you make the motivation straight money, and hey, let's just try to get as much money and try to sell as much tickets as possible, it is a very forgettable movie, and it gets terrible reviews, and nobody really wants to go watch it again, or it's just kind of a waste of time and a waste of energy going and a waste of money. And so, yeah, I feel like the main goal with creating art, and I've said this before in my past, the main goal for creating art is to create art for yourself and for Jesus, and also to express your emotions, even your uncomfortable emotions, like your loneliness, and like satisfying your boredom and satisfying your curiosity, and like releasing uncomfortable emotions like stress or anxiety or depression or any of those uncomfortable emotions that we handle as human beings. We can pour all of that into our art and release it. And so that way we can deflate that balloon and keep it from popping on other people, or keep from bottling up our emotions and having to keep all of it inside. We can release it and express it through art. And so that's, in my past video when I talked about expression over suppression. When you express your emotions, you no longer have the desire to suppress your emotions. And so, yeah, the main goal of creating art, it should not be to create art for money or fame, but to create art for yourself, for Jesus, and to release your uncomfortable emotions, and to create something beautiful, and to create something that will inspire people, okay? Like I talk about that quote from Trevor Slattery from the Waterman TV show, where he said, when we share our pain, our grief, and our joy with the audience feels less alone, and we all feel less alone. So I agree with this quote. So by sharing what we go through and relating to each other, and by sharing the struggle that we go through, we can help people feel less lonely and more inspired, and we can show people that they're not alone and they're not handling this alone, that other people have gone through similar pain, similar experiences, similar struggles. And part of struggling and part of handling problems is part of being human. So we are going to handle problems until the day that we die, okay? But we can share our problems with other people, and we can talk about our problems and vent out our problems, and we can offer solutions. Or maybe we could just vent out our problems and we don't really have a solution, but someone else can hear us and actually listen to us, and they might have a solution that we might have never thought of, but we wouldn't have known that if we didn't express ourselves and share our pain and our problems with people. And so I get, part of being man is Or, society has trained us as this is part of being a man, is keeping all of our problems inside and handling our problems on our own and not really talking about it. And, just trying our best to just not get emotional and just solve the problem and take care of it and just be logical and stoic and show no emotion, okay? But, I talked about how vulnerability is a strength and it takes courage to be openly vulnerable in public. And for you to open up about your problems and open up about your emotions and your struggles and your pain and what you've gone through, it takes courage, okay? And that is a manly thing to do. And I would say it's wimpy and weak to shut off your emotions and hide your emotions and hide your feelings because you don't want other people to feel bad for you, or you want to come off as masculine, or you just care about what other people think about you, or you care about being judged, or whatever it is that's keeping you from opening up and expressing how you feel. Whatever's keeping you from doing that it's hurting you, because vulnerability is a strength. Being openly vulnerable in public takes courage, and it takes a man to do that, and it's a manly thing to do. So being able to be vulnerable with your feelings and emotions without fearing or worrying about someone making fun of you, or worrying about, like I said, judgment, or trying to come off as masculine, or someone that has it all together and has it all figured out and has all your problems solved, and I need no help, I take care of it myself, blah blah blah. Instead of trying to come off as a certain image, you could just be open and be honest and be truthful. And by you doing that can inspire someone else to open up about what they're going through and their struggles and their problems and their feelings. And like I said, you opening up about what you're going through, someone else, seeing from a different perspective, might be able to offer a solution that you probably never would have saw. But only by you opening up and talking about what you're going through were you able to hear that and listen to that solution that the other person has. And then you might also, like I said, inspire someone else to open up about their problems and their struggles to you. And you might be able to see a solution for them that they might not be able to see. And so it's kind of like, hey, I can help you and you can help me, and we can all help each other, and we can all help each other heal and be in a better mood and be more loving. Don't be scared to open up about your feelings, because in my eyes, I see that as wimpy and weak, and I might struggle to do that sometimes. I might have some feelings that I keep to myself, and I might be scared to tell anybody, but I don't need to do that. I can be honest, and I want to be an open book, and I want to be honest with my feelings, because I feel like if I start trying to hide something or hide certain feelings, that it just, I don't know, I don't like that feeling. It feels like lying. It feels like I'm trying to trick other people, or it feels like I'm hiding something. And I shouldn't be scared about expressing how I truly feel, because that's how I truly feel. And so I should be honest about how I feel. And if I try to hide who I am and how I feel, then that feels like I'm being fake. That feels like I'm lying. And that feels like I'm deceiving or tricking people. And I know I'm not perfect. And I am trying my best to be completely honest and completely open. But there's probably still some feelings inside me that I still haven't told anybody. And I need to work on opening up and talking about all my feelings, and just not keeping it inside anymore, and just allowing anybody to just read me and be an open book for everybody. And I'm trying my best to do that, and I admit that I'm human and we struggle. There's certain feelings where it's like, whoa, that's kind of dark, or that's kind of twisted, or I'm not sure how other people will take that, and you decide not to share it with anybody because you're worried, you're scared about what other people would think, how the reactions are, or how, if they're going to judge you or make fun of you. But like I said, I see that as being fake, being wimpy, being weak, lying, deceiving, and tricking. And so if you want people to see you for who you truly are, and people to accept you for who you really truly are, you have to be completely open and honest about your feelings and your emotions. Yeah, but there might be some feelings that I have that I might be scared to tell anybody. But by me keeping that aside and suppressing it and trying my best to hide it, that takes energy. That takes me hiding a part of myself and being fake and not being real and lying. And that is another feeling that gives me the desire to suppress my emotions and feelings even more. By me choosing not to express it, the desire to suppress it comes up. And the more I try to avoid it, the stronger that desire to suppress that emotion or feeling is. And so, if we want to completely get rid of addiction and completely get rid of the habit of suppressing our emotions and feelings, the option and the answer is to be completely open and honest with how we truly feel and expressing all of our feelings and emotions so that we no longer have the desire to suppress our feelings or emotions, so that we don't fall into the trap of addiction.